Good morning, would-be farmer, part 4 of our 6-part series on the celebration of our 2-year anniversary of our 5-year permaculture project, coming to you from hot Crescent City, Florida, northeast part of Central Florida. This part is going to cover the area away from the house, zone 3 and 4, 2, 3, and 4 perhaps in the permaculture world. So follow us. Oh, Jan, point the phone over at the cedar chips and ask our lovely viewing audience if they can smell that. Can you smell that? Isn't that one? Can you smell? Oh wait, that's generation 10 cell phone. We're not quite there yet. Anyway, we're getting there. So we'll battle the sun a little bit. We tried to get this going before the sun came up so the light isn't too horrendous. But anyway, this is actually our garden of even. This is the focus point. Even being that the inputs that go in, the inputs that come out, we're trying to do a balance, be in harmony with nature, so it's the garden of even. And of course that is a play on Eden. Anyway, this is going to take a long time to get developed. This is probably going to not come to fruition, pardon the obvious permaculture pun, for about 5 years, hence the idea that we're having a 5-year permaculture project, because this was solid grass. There were no trees here. So, follow us. We'll do the Garden of Even, the inside the fenced area. We'll do that area. That'll be video 6 or 5, or let's see. So what do I have planted here? That is a grafted pecan tree. It's an Elliott? No, I'm sorry, it's a Curtis pecan, and it is doing okay. It was grafted especially and particularly for Florida. The cultivar, which is a human thing, was made specifically for Florida. That's a dying fig. You won't see it because it's dying or dead. And this reminds me, people, enjoy your mistakes. You will kill plants. It takes some time. We can't do in 5 weekends or 5 months or even 5 years what it took nature 5,000 years to do. So enjoy your mistakes. We can learn from them. They're going to happen. And that is another tree that's struggling. That is the citrus. And believe it or not, we have had that citrus tree here for a year and a half. So I've got to figure out, unless it's one of those miniature dwarf bonsais that they didn't tell me about, I'm not sure. What do we have here? That is a nectarine. What I learned about nectarines is that they're technically peaches with the no hair gene, which is amazing. Very popular these days, shaving the head, as you can see. And here's another citrus we have. Again, that one's been here for a year and a half, so I need to work on this one too. That's a lot healthier than the yellow one we had over there. I think that's a navel orange of some type. Got another grafted pecan here that is struggling. I got plenty of roots from the base, or plenty of leaves from the base, but no leaves from the actual grafted part. So that's another challenge. There's a baby Moringa oleifera from West Africa, the horseradish tree. Everything is edible except the actual wood. Okay, follow us to the back. This is a growing pignut hickory. It's a native to this area of Florida. You can see it right back in here, and I've got it heavily guarded so the deer don't try to take over and enjoy their cuisine before we do. Got that from the Volusia County Soil and Water Conservation Department. Nice thing about what they do, and let me slow your roll here, because this is almost a socialist thing. We got, how many plants did we get, darling? We got 25 plants for $70, 25 little trees. They're all about this size. Some of them were a little bit bigger. 25 for $70. I've planted them everywhere. Pignut hickories, pecans, these are all natives. Elderberry, Simpson stopper, Walters viburnum, on, just all kinds of native trees. And every one of them that we got provides fruit. $70, 25 trees. That's a dying pecan, another one that's grafted. I'm having better luck with the natural varieties that aren't grafted than I am with the ones that are grafted, and I think that makes sense. But if some of you are wondering why this 1 acre piece of property that we have, our little slice of heaven, looks like 2 acres, that's because it is, okay? We're cheating. This isn't our property back here. But behind us is a swamp. No one's going to build on a swamp, at least not this generation. Maybe after we nail down living on Mars, we'll go ahead and build on swamps here.
And the train track.
Back here. So this is uninhabitable, and the people that have this property have no problem with us being back here. So we're a guerrilla planting. Here's another pecan I've put back here. That needs to grow as well. So let's go continue. Here's an example. The last pecan we just looked at, Caria, Illinois, perhaps? I can't remember what these are called. That's grafted. This is not as old. And this is a native, a natural. Caria, Illinois, perhaps? I think that might be it. The non-grafted are doing much better. And yes, I do understand that the non-grafted are going to take longer to produce fruit, or in this case, nuts. I get that. But they're going to be healthier. If you think about the graft of a tree, that's a weak point. It's not a natural flow of nutrients, water, minerals, etc. through the graft. Here's another natural pecan tree that we've planted, that we got from the Volusia County Soil Water Conservation District, doing much better than the ones that are grafted. Our plan is in January or February, when they have that sale again, we're going to get 25 more of these little bitty trees, these saplings, these seedlings. And here's another pecan. Of course, it's got neighbors, it's got friends. The grapes. Let's just hope they're not grapes of wrath. The grapes are taking over, so I need to make sure they don't choke out this fella. But he's doing well. So in 10 years, you can imagine that's going to be as big as some of these oaks. And producing. What you see here, and I've learned a lot since I've studied permaculture. Grapevines. And in this part of the world, from what I understand, my research, it tells us that there are no poisonous lookalikes. As you can see around this is a field, a complete field of grape leaves. Greens everywhere. This is one of 4 or 5, if not 10 or 12, native plants that produce edible greens. We don't need to go to Publix or Kroger or Wegmans or Albertsons or Lucky's or Safeway or any of those. They're all right here. Yes, we still go. It's nice to know we have these options. And because most of native greens and natural greens, watch me fall on my arse, are less mild tasting, that is an indication there's more vitamins and minerals. Hence, you don't have to load it up with salad dressing. You don't have to throw bacon bits and croutons and cheese on it. There's plenty of flavor. You just have to mix them a little bit. All right. One of our first Moringa oleifera trees that we planted. This was a seedling. Planted the seeds. 2 of them popped up. I let them grow. They always say to crop one back. I don't buy that. What we did, we haven't touched this one. Let this one grow naturally. This one we have cut back. Okay, so like a little horseradish. We have cut back this one because I want to see the difference. I want to see what happens. You can see where I've trimmed it back. Just want to see the difference in the growth. Mexican sunflower, to my knowledge, no edible fruit parts, no edible leaves, or at least not edible in the sense we want them to be. Ooh, I understand why they named that the horseradish tree. But what is very nice about these, it creates a lot of biomass. It is nature's fertilizer. These grow very fast. This was this high about 2 months ago. Cut this off, throw it in the garden. It's natural fertilizer as nature intended. Natural as nature. You get where I'm going with that? All right, what we have here. These are some kind of offspring from compost spills. Probably from zucchini. We buy a good bit of zucchini, probably from zucchini seeds. And because most of the produce we purchase in our supermarkets are hybridized, not to be confused with GMO, that's a different thing, they have characteristics of their ancestors. They don't come true to seed. So what you see here is something that is quite different from the zucchini we purchased. What we've noticed recently when we've harvested the pumpkins, I'm going to call them pumpkins, I suppose. They're similar to very hard squash or Seminole pumpkin. This is our compost operation. Most of what you see here was found material. A lot of these pallets were found on the side of the road. This was all scrap wood that I found in the woods that had been discarded from previous people who lived in the area who were through with whatever they were doing and they just threw it in the woods. These are downed fences from hurricanes and storms. A lot of this wire you see was reused. This all came from the kind gentleman who did the fencing project. They left a bunch of this for us. This came when we redid the roof. These were pieces of wood we found in the woods again. All this, the gutters, we all found in the woods, just thrown out somewhere. So we collect rainwater off the top of this. We use that especially in the winter when we don't have a lot of rain. All right, follow me this way. You want to take a walk down to the water? Let's take a walk down to the water. We'll take you towards the swamp area. Now, this is extra the path you see here is extra pieces for roofing projects again. And I laid these down so that we can notify any snakes and gators and critters back here that we're coming. We don't want to surprise anybody, if you can imagine. What we plan on doing in this area here, we plan on guerrilla planting bananas. Because I know you can't see it now, but there are bananas that are growing back here that evidently were planted years and years and years ago, but they are growing. Of course, the growth right now in August is so high we can't see, but there's a nice huge banana plant over here. Now you can't see it. There's also another one down here that we will be having a hard time to see as well. That is our goal. Guerrilla plant bananas all through here. Since we have grapes going everywhere. Oh, another thing on the grapes. All these grape leaves and no grapes, so I started doing the research. And what I have found is that 90% of the grape vines that you see are male. They don't produce fruit. 10% that do produce fruit sometimes don't produce until every 5, 6, 7 years. That's why we don't see a whole lot of, in this area, muscadine. So we did plant some in the Garden of Eden, and we have gotten fruit off of those. All right, I'm not going to take you back into the woods, but this actually is our property. We have a nice trail back through here. And we actually found, I did a video on this before, we found a nice citrus tree in the back, a tangerine tree, not grafted. Actually, it's probably 4 or 5 trees in one little area about a 20 or 25 foot circle, producing lovely tangerines. How about that, huh? Survived freezes, no greening, and it's probably 20 feet high. Now the thing about that tangerine tree, not grafted, didn't have to paint the base to keep the sun off the base of the tree. It's not going to produce 200, 300 tangerines. Located in the forest, it's not going to get full sun. When you put a tree like that in full sun, and you feel like you have to guard the base from the sun, from baking bark, you're going to load it up with tons of trees and make it weak. It's a lot harder to keep going. I don't think trees were meant to produce that much fruit. It's just me. All right, we did a crop spiral here with a little bitty frog pond. I've recently trimmed it back so that you can actually see it. Haven't paid much attention to it this year, so it's kind of overgrown. It's gone natural. But this was all discarded cement blocks and bricks in the woods as well. I call that urbanite. Sometimes we humans, we're a little bit lazy. We can't go 5 miles to the dump, especially in this area because this is a low-income area. People tend to just throw their stuff out in the woods, so I'm trying to bring some of that back out. What do I have planted here? Oh, I have bamboo over there. We were able to steal some bamboo from our local naturist community. They let us dig up some bamboo, so we've planted several in that area. You can see the one that's the tallest there. Got more baby moringas growing here. Of course, this that you see everywhere is Spanish needle, edible and nutritious. Number 2 for pollinators, for pollinating. Number 2 nectar source for bees. Bees love these things. I think the number 1 is the cabbage palm. I think it's the cabbage palm, one of the palms. But you can see all the moringa we've got growing here. I think that's a mint. We've got other things as well that we've planted in here. All right, that was our 5-minute video. That's probably closer to 15 minutes. Tried to keep it short, but that's the area around the house. You can find the videos on Would Be Farmer, W-O-U-L-D-B Farmer on YouTube. You can also visit our page on Facebook, Hamilton Hoke, Garden of Eden. This is Would Be Farmer, Crescent City, Florida, signing off.